بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسرني بداية أن نرحب بمعالي الوزير في زيارته الأولى للمملكة. هذه الزيارة ومخرجاتها تؤكد متانة علاقات الصداقة الأردنية الامريكية التي ما انفكت تنمو وتتطور على مدى 7 عقود من التعاون والتنسيق. كما تابعتم وقعنا الآن مذكرة تفاهم ستقدم الولايات المتحدة وفقها ما لا يقل عن $1,275,000,000 سنويا للمملكة ولمدة 5 سنوات. هذه ثالث مذكرة تفاهم يوقعها البلدان الصديقان، لكنها الأولى التي توقعها إدارة فخامة الرئيس دونالد ترامب، وتقدم زيادة في الحد الأدنى للمساعدات بقيمة $275,000,000 مقارنة بسابقتها والتي كانت غطت فترة 3 سنوات فقط. سيساعد هذا الدعم المملكة بشكل كبير على مواجهة التحديات الاقتصادية وتنفيذ برامج الإصلاح ورفض مشاريعنا التنموية وتطوير قدراتنا الدفاعية. ونحن ممتنون للولايات المتحدة على دعمها الثابت. معالي الوزير، نثمن عاليا وقوفكم المستمر معنا، نثمن روابط الصداقة والشراكة القوية التي تجمعنا، ونتطلع إلى استمرار العمل معا لخدمة مصالحنا المشتركة ولتحقيق الأمن والاستقرار والسلام في المنطقة. قبل توقيع المذكرة بحثت ومعالي الوزير سبل تطوير علاقاتنا الثنائية والمستجدات في المنطقة، خصوصا تلك المتعلقة بالصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي بسوريا وبحربنا المشتركة ضد الإرهاب. Mr. Secretary, it is a tremendous pleasure to welcome you to Jordan. Our talks reaffirm the strength of our relations. The United States has been a true friend and a solid partner to the kingdom. The MOU we have just signed is a testimony to the enduring nature of our relations. We greatly appreciate your support. We thank you for the new aid package that will strongly help us carry out our economic reform programs and meet our developmental and defense needs. We'll continue to work together in pursuit of peace and stability. We will remain partners in the fight against terrorism until we destroy this evil. Jordan will not waver in its commitment to working with you, sir, and with the rest of our partners in the global coalition to defeat Daesh and its ideology of hate. We will continue our joint efforts to bring about a peaceful solution to the Syrian crisis on the basis of UN Security Council Resolution 2254 and through the Geneva process. The solution that we seek is one that the Syrian people will accept and one that will preserve the territorial integrity of the country. Middle East peace is a strategic choice for Jordan. We have different views on Jerusalem, but we share the commitment to peace. To Jordan, the two-state solution that guarantees the establishment of a Palestinian state on June 4, 1967 lines with East Jerusalem as its capital, and that lives in peace and security with a recognized and accepted Israel is the only path to comprehensive peace. Again, Rex, it's a great pleasure to welcome you here. We look forward to continuing working with you on consolidating our partnership, on facing the common challenges that we have, and more importantly, on bringing peace, stability, and opportunity to our region. You are among friends. Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you as well, Ayman, and we have developed quite a friendship over this past year. When you confront so many serious issues, it's important to have trusted partners that you can consult with, and I value our discussions greatly. I really am pleased to be in Jordan, my first trip as Secretary of State. For decades, the United States and Jordan have sustained a truly indispensable strategic partnership that's been critical to the security of both of our nations, as well as contributing to the security of the region. Today, we recognize the importance of that partnership by signing this new 5-year Memorandum of Understanding. Under this agreement, the United States commits to provide Jordan no less than $1.275 billion per year in bilateral foreign assistance. This MOU is a signal to the rest of the world that the U.S.-Jordan partnership has never been stronger. The MOU represents a 27% increase to the United States' previous bilateral commitment to Jordan. We've also increased the length of the MOU from 3 years to 5 years, giving Jordan greater certainty of planning for the future. The additional funds and the years will support Jordan's important role in addressing regional conflict and instability, including the impact that the crisis in Syria has had on Jordan. The elements of the new MOU will also support His Majesty King Abdullah's political and, importantly, his economic reform agenda and move Jordan closer to achieving the self-reliance that it seeks. We thank the government and the people of Jordan for receiving so many of those displaced by the conflict in Syria. We're dedicated to finding a way forward in Syria that will allow for the safe and voluntary return of these displaced people when conditions allow. Also want to highlight Jordan's partnership and commitment to combating terrorism and violent extremism. His Majesty King Abdullah has long been a regional and global leader and a voice against terrorism and is critical to our counterterrorism efforts. And I think this is evidenced by Jordan's active participation in the global coalition to defeat ISIS and in their efforts to convene the Aqaba process. I also want to acknowledge and thank Jordan for their recent decisions to cut ties with the DPRK. The tools of pressure such as this are helping to reverse North Korea's trajectory by putting pressure on them to change their course and find their way to the table for discussions to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, and we appreciate Jordan's actions in concert with the entire international community. We take special note of His Majesty's interest in the peace between Israel and the Palestinians and his tireless support in pursuit of such a peace. Jordan has a unique and positive role and is of great importance as we continue to pursue President Trump's goal of a lasting and comprehensive peace. And I think it's important to note that when President Trump made his decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, he first committed to respecting Jordan's role as the custodian of the holy sites. And secondly, he made clear that the positions on the final boundaries or borders of Jerusalem is a matter that's left for the parties to negotiate and discuss and will be dealt with in the final status of issues, all of which are subject to negotiation. On behalf of the United States, I want to repeat what Vice President Pence reaffirmed to His Majesty last month, and I quote, "We are here as partners for security. We are here as partners in both of our nation's prosperity, and most importantly, we are here as friends." The MOU underscores all of those partnerships, and I'm pleased to be here with His Excellency, the Foreign Minister, as we, again, formalize that commitment to the 5 years and beyond in our bilateral relationship, and we look forward to our ongoing partnership and collaboration to address the many serious issues that the region is faced with today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll take a few questions now. If you may, فيصل ملكاوي, رأي newspaper Jordan.
اسمي فيصل ملكاوي من اسمي فيصل ملكاوي من جريدة الرأي الأردنية. لدي سؤال لكلا معالي الوزيرين. يعني السؤال الأول يتعلق بالموضوع السوري. يعني خلال أيام أو أسابيع ستدخل هذه الأزمة الطاحنة عامها الثامن بلا أي حل سياسي، ودخلت في الأيام الأخيرة في صفحة جديدة من الصراع الخطير في المنطقة بالاشتباك الإسرائيلي الإيراني السوري. يعني كيف أصحاب المعالي يمكن العودة للسيطرة على هذا الوضع والدفع قدما بالحل السياسي وفق قرار 2254 والمرجعيات؟ السؤال الثاني حول موضوع تطورات عملية السلام. يعني المنطقة حقيقة في حالة يعني قلق وترقب وتشكك دائما في موضوع الصراع العربي الإسرائيلي، والأردن يعتبر هذا الموضوع أم القضايا وهو الذي يولد الصراعات الأخرى. معالي الوزير خاصة وزير الخارجية الامريكي، يعني ننتظر أو ربما في الشهر المقبل الخطة الامريكية للسلام، وهناك قرار الرئيس الامريكي. يعني حل الدولتين هو الذي تتساءل عنه المنطقة والمجتمع الدولي. هل ما زالت الفرصة قائمة للعودة إلى السبيل الوحيد بحل الدولتين لإنهاء هذا الصراع مرة واحدة وإلى الأبد؟ وشكرا.
بداية كما قلت في الملف السوري، نحن القضية السورية كانت على ضمن المحادثات التي أجرناها. الآن نحن متفقان على ضرورة التقدم نحو حل سلمي للأزمة السورية. هذا الحل يجب أن يكون على أساس القرار 2254 وعبر مسار جنيف الذي نعتبره المسار الوحيد لتحقيق هذا الحل السلمي. والحل الذي نريده هو حل يقبل به الشعب السوري ويضمن وحدة سوريا وتماسكها. نحن في تشاور دائم، ونحن لنا ذات الأهداف في سوريا، ونعمل معا بشكل مستمر من أجل تحقيق هذا السلام، وبالتالي جهودنا مستمرة على مستوى ثنائي أو مع شركائنا وأصدقائنا في المجتمع الدولي وفي المنطقة من أجل تحقيق هذا السلام في سوريا. بالنسبة للقضية الفلسطينية كما قلت هي القضية الأساس بالنسبة لنا في الأردن، وحل الدولتين الذي يضمن قيام الدولة الفلسطينية المستقلة على حدود الرابع من حزيران 67 وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، والتي تعيش بأمن وسلام إلى جانب إسرائيل، هي السبيل الوحيد لتحقيق السلام. لا نستطيع إلا أن نستمر في هذه الجهود، والرئيس الامريكي كان قال عندما تولى مسؤوليته بأنه يريد أن يصل إلى صفقة سلام إسرائيلية فلسطينية، وجلالة الملك كان واضحا بأن الأردن سيتحمل مسؤوليته كاملة وسيقوم بكل ما يستطيع من جهد للدفع لهذا السلام. نحن في المنطقة العربية كلنا كعرب كدول عربية، وإذا تعود إلى بيان قمة عمان كلنا أجمعنا على أن السلام هو خيار استراتيجي، ونحن متمسكون بهذا السلام ونريد أن نعمل معا من أجل تحقيق هذا السلام. صحيح مواقفنا هنالك اختلاف في المواقف نحو القدس، لكن التحدي الآن هو أن نحول دون أن نجعل وضعا صعبا أكثر صعوبة، وأن نتقدم معا باتجاه الحل، لأن غياب هذا الحل وغياب الأفق السياسي لن يخدم إلا أولئك الذين يريدون أن يغرقون المنطقة في المزيد من التوتر ومن الصراع. فنحن نتطلع إلى العمل مع الولايات المتحدة ومع الجميع في المجتمع الدولي من أجل التوصل إلى هذا السلام الذي هو ضرورة وشرط من أجل تحقيق السلام والاستقرار في المنطقة. شكرا.
Well, we are quite concerned about the recent incident involving Israel and Iranian assets inside of Syria, and I think this again illustrates why Iran's presence in Syria is only destabilizing to the region. We think Iran needs to withdraw its military, its militia from Syria, and allow the hope for peace process to take hold in Geneva. As the foreign minister indicated, we're working very closely together and collaborating to support the Geneva peace process. And we think there has been important milestones achieved after the Sochi conference that was hosted by the Russians. Everyone left Sochi with a unified commitment to the Geneva process, authorizing the special envoy, Staffan de Mistura, giving him the authority to convene the Constitutional Committee. So I think we are moving forward, but it is going to be a lengthy process. We need the engagement of all parties in good faith in Geneva to try and find a way to bring peace to Syria, restore Syria in its territorial integrity, democracy, governed by people the Syrian people select. With respect to the Middle East peace process, President Trump remains committed to seeing a Middle East peace process go forward. And as I indicated, I think the decision taken on Jerusalem was about the United States and our recognition of Jerusalem and where we choose to place our embassy. But the President was clear also in his statement, and as I just indicated in my statement, that the final status, the final borders in Jerusalem are up to the parties to decide. So it does not preclude a two-state solution. If that is the solution the parties seek, the U.S. would support that. So we continue to support the Middle East peace process going forward. We recognize the important role that Jordan and King Abdullah can play in facilitating that as well.
Nick Harris, New York Times. Nick Harris, New York Times, please.
Thank you. That's all right. Mr. Secretary, you're going tomorrow to Beirut. There's growing concerns about Hezbollah's influence in Lebanon, and also about the growing worries about war throughout the region between Israel and Syria, between various parties that would take place now that ISIS has largely been defeated. You'll then go to Turkey, where Prime Minister Erdogan threatened an Ottoman slap against the United States. Is that sort of rhetoric helpful, and are you going to bring some sort of plan to de-escalate the situation in Afrin and elsewhere? And one other thing on the budget, you proposed cuts to, for instance, the UN Global Fund, which advocates believe would lead to about 500,000 deaths. Is that an appropriate budget measure for the United States, or the United States is it pulling out of the AIDS Africa crisis? And Foreign Minister, at what point, how many, it's now been 50 years since the two-state solution has been in the offing. You now have yet another American administration suggesting they're going to come up with a peace plan. How long does the two-state solution remain in the offing until the people sort of realize that maybe Israel is never going to give up this land and only a one-state solution is possible? When is the deadline that the two-state solution finally dies?
Well, I will be going to Beirut tomorrow to meet with leaders in Beirut about Lebanon's future. We support a free, democratic Lebanon, free of influence of others. And we know that Lebanese Hezbollah is influenced by Iran. This is influence that we think is unhelpful in Lebanon's long-term future. We also have to acknowledge the reality that they also are part of the political process in Lebanon. I think Lebanon is taking positive steps with their law on disassociation that was passed last year to send a signal as to their view that they do not want to see any of Lebanese Hezbollah involved in foreign conflicts, and have asked that they bring all of their people back from the conflict in Yemen. So I think it's a long process. We support the democratic process there. We support strengthening the LAF, the Lebanese Armed Forces, so that there is a legitimate security force under full control of the government of Lebanon to provide the security the Lebanese people deserve. With respect to my meetings in Ankara, Turkey is still an important NATO ally of the United States. They're still a very important partner in the region for us. And we need to find a way to continue to work in the same direction. We are committed to the same outcomes in Syria. And we know that Turkey also has threats within Turkey, as well as in areas surrounding Turkey, from areas out of Iraq, some areas out of Syria. And so we hope to have talks about how we can work cooperatively to lessen those threats to Turkey, but ultimately achieve the objective in Syria, which is the full and enduring defeat of ISIS, the de-escalation of violence in Syria, and moving the Geneva peace talks forward. I think what will benefit Turkey the most will be a successful peace process in Geneva that stabilizes all of Syria. And finally, as to the budget, our budget still provides our full levels of support to PEPFAR. And the whole budget, and this is the same approach that was taken last year, is, as you know, part of this president's and this administration's theme is to seek greater burden sharing from others. And so we're going to maintain the AIDS support programs that are in place, but we're seeking other partners to come in and pick up new cases that need to be dealt with. And so we're working that both with other governments, but we're working it through private foundations and others. We're engaged very actively with them as well.
Thank you. As you know, I mean, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict has almost single-handedly defined the political discourse of this part of the world for over 6 decades or so. So we remain committed to finding a solution to it and finding a peace. But when we say we want peace, we say we want comprehensive and lasting peace. In order for peace to be lasting and comprehensive, it has to be accepted by the people. And in order for it to be accepted by the people, it has to meet the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to statehood and freedom on their national soil. That said, the two-state solution is the only solution that we believe can work. We've got to continue to work towards delivering that solution, because what's the alternative? The alternative is a one-state solution, and if it is a one-state solution, is it going to be an apartheid, or is it going to be a democratic one-state solution? And I think if we ask those questions, then we'll come back to the conclusion that the only viable option is the two-state solution. Yes, that solution is under threat. Yes, unilateral actions by Israel are undermining the viability of that solution, but we have to stay resilient, we have to stay vigilant, and as you said, we've worked with many American administrations on trying to resolve this conflict. We'll continue to work with this current administration to do so, because we believe in the key role of the United States in delivering that peace. We cannot give up. It is a difficult situation. Challenge is not to make it worse and to find a way of moving forward. If we do not have the two-state solution, then I think we're looking at a longer period of conflict that would only play into the hands of the spoilers and radicals who want to exploit the suffering and despair of people to spread their agenda of hate. So yes, a challenge, yes, difficult, but we have no option but to stay hopeful and keep doing the hard work and try to get there. Thank you. Mr. Hamdan Al-Hajj, الدستور newspaper.
Yes, my name is Hamdan Al-Hajj from الدستور newspaper. My question is to both of you. Having signed the memorandum of understanding between the two countries, the recent months witnessed a lot of misunderstanding, maybe we can call it, between the two countries. And how do you assess the ties, the relationships between the two countries? And Mr. Tillotson, how do you see the role of Jordan in the coming strategy of U.S.? Thank you.
Well, I think, as you just acknowledged, we just signed a 5-year commitment of well over $1 billion. In fact, cumulatively, well over $6 billion. So I think our commitment to this relationship and to seeing Jordan continue to succeed is firm. That should not be under any question whatsoever. Again, the strength of the partnership, whether it be in countering terrorism, whether it be in pursuing a Middle East peace process, whether dealing with the serious humanitarian and refugee problems created by conflict in the region, Jordan and the United States have always been able to work shoulder to shoulder to address these issues. We have differences, as any countries may have from time to time, over tactics, I think, more than final objectives. I think our final objectives are quite clear and they're shared, and those are unchanged. How we pursue those from time to time, we may take different approaches, but we consult, and we know that what we're trying to achieve at the end is still the same.
I'd only just say thank you, Secretary, for describing the relation in the best terms that anybody could have. We're partners, we're friends, we're committed to working together. We're united in our strategic vision for a Middle East of peace and stability. The U.S. has been a true friend for Jordan, has stood by Jordan for many, many years, and for that we're grateful, and we look forward to continuing to working together on all the challenges that the Secretary has just mentioned. Nick Wadham, Bloomberg.
Thanks very much. Nick Wadhams with Bloomberg. Mr. Foreign Minister, you just said the challenge now is to not make things worse. Can you talk about the challenge posed by the U.S. decision to name Jerusalem the capital? Did that complicate your work and in fact make things worse in the pursuit of peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians? Also, on UNRWA, did the U.S. decision to slash funding for UNRWA complicate your efforts to bring greater stability to the region and to assist Palestinian refugees? Also, for Secretary Tillerson, there's been a lot of talk that the Trump administration will unveil its peace plan for the region in the next month or two. Have you seen that plan? Are you working on that? Can you give us a time frame for when that may emerge? And also, would the U.S. commit to restoring funding for UNRWA? Did you discuss that possibility today? Thank you.
Please.
Well, with respect to the timing and details of a Middle East peace plan that the administration has been working on, I don't want to get in front of the President or his team that's been working on that. I have seen the plan, the elements of the plan. It's been under development for a number of months. I have consulted with them on the plan, identified areas that we feel need further work. So I think it'll be up to the President to decide when he feels it's time and he's ready to put that plan forward. I will say it's fairly well advanced, is what I would say. With respect to the UNRWA funding, we did release $60 million in order to ensure that teachers, hospital workers, salaries and whatnot would continue to be paid uninterrupted. I think the remainder of what we may do with respect to UNRWA in some measure is also dependent upon what are others willing to do. I think it's interesting that the U.S. provides about 30%, perhaps a little more, of the total UNRWA funding from year to year. That means there's 70% that comes from a lot of other countries. Yet when there's a crisis on January the 1st or January the 15th, only the United States gets called. And then when the United States, there's some fear that we're not going to deliver, only the United States gets criticized. The UNRWA funding is an international commitment. Many countries are donors to UNRWA. And part of, I think, what we would like to see, and I know the foreign minister and I have had many discussions about this as well, is we need to put UNRWA on more sustainable footing. It has never had a sustainable funding model. It has always operated in almost in a one crisis to the next kind of environment. We really need to find a longer-term solution, and we need to invite more donors to participate in the funding of UNRWA's activities. There are many countries that we believe should be supporting that are not supporting, and we're going to be calling on them to do so. But hopefully we can find a way that UNRWA is not in a crisis every January the 1st, and then another crisis along about November of every year. And so we're going to look at our ongoing support for UNRWA, but we want to look at it in the context of trying to address the longer-term need. So we'll see how this goes, and Jordan's taking some important leadership in that regard. We're going to be very supportive of that.
Thank you. As you know, we've made our position on Jerusalem clear, and you know, we believe Jerusalem is a final status issue whose ultimate fate needs to be negotiated among the parties on the basis of relevant UN Security Council resolutions. But that said, again, the challenge is how to move forward, how to make a difficult situation, make sure it does not get worse. And I think the challenge now is how do we create horizons to move forward towards a peaceful solution to that conflict. That is the key source of tension in the region. I will continue to be engaged with our American friends with a view to seeing how we can work together on that. UNRWA is key. It is important that UNRWA continues to deliver its vital services to refugees in its 5 areas of operation. UNRWA is a political symbolism in terms of it representing the need for a just settlement to the refugees issue, but it is also the livelihood of millions of people. We appreciate the tremendous amount of support that the U.S. has been giving to UNRWA over the years, and as the Secretary said, we're working together and along with other partners in the international community to find a way where we can sustain UNRWA, make sure that UNRWA continues to get the funding that it deserves, and it continues to deliver the services that it is delivering to those who need it across the region. Again, there are a lot of challenges, but when was the Middle East free from challenges? The challenge is not to give up, to stay resilient and to move forward. Again, I want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, for the tremendous friendship that we have. Again, your friendship, your support is something that we tremendously value in Jordan, and we look forward to continuing working with you. Now we're going to go meet with His Majesty, so thank you so much and appreciate you all coming.